Welcome back to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to go from an abusive parent to an abusive man? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I am the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know, working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Knowing that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com and remember to hit the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, VP Nursing Business Academy. Our special guest today is Trina Martin, my friend. I love me some Trina. Trina Martin is an author, speaker, technology consultant. She helps me all the time. So technology, you need to go to Trina. She is amazing and a podcaster. She uses her experience to motivate audiences to overcome adversity, develop self-determination and discipline. Trina also inspires emerging leaders to pursue their wildest dream with heart and grit. An accomplished IT professional and a member of the U.S. military for 30 years. Girl, you don't look like you're 30. Or over 30. And she has broken barriers and made strides in her career that, as many have said, weren't possible. So welcome, Trina, to the platform. And although you are not a healthcare professional, your story is inspiring and you are amazing. And so I wanted to bring you here. So now, Trina, normally we feature nurses and healthcare professionals on the panel, but you own your own tech company where you teach entrepreneurs to elevate their communications and technology. What was the main reason that you decided to serve in this manner?
Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. V, for allowing me to be on your platform today. I know I'm like the oddball, out because you are, with the healthcare professionals, but I thank you. It's a very, I'm honored to be here and to speak with you and your audience. But the reason why I started my own tech company is, as you said, for 20 years, I was in IT and I had gotten away from that doing some other things. And then this pandemic hit and I saw how people were struggling with using technology in ways that we didn't have to use them before, Zooming from home, doing videos, things like that. And something just told me that that was my superpower. That was my strength, is tech. So to go back and do that. And especially now that we have, in the day and age of hacking, where people are hacking into things and stealing information, using, your sensitive information to do bad things. I wanted to do more than just help people with tech, but help them to use it securely and to communicate with their distant clients, customers, and employees. So that's why I decided to go back into tech.
And you are doing an amazing job. I just want to let you know that my camera, these headphones, this mic, all of this was recommendations from Trina, every last bit of it. So she is absolutely amazing. So now you served in the armed forces. Thank you for your service, by the way. Now, what was your primary reasoning for going into the armed forces?
Well, it kind of goes back to my story. I was the first in my family to go to college. And after my first year of going to college, completing my first year, I realized that I need a way to finance it to keep going. And because I didn't have any financial support from home, so I decided to join the military. And I first started out in the Army, and this was in 1990. I went through basic training, did all of my training. And being a naive 19-year-old, the recruiter said, here's this profession and it's got a $2,000 bonus. No, it was a $20,000 bonus. And of course, me being a poor college kid, I was like, okay, yeah, that's what I need. I was like, well, what is it? He He was like, oh, you'll be a chemical specialist. And I was like, oh, right. I get to get a white coat and be in the lab. He was like, yeah, that's what you want to do. And I was like, great. Well, I signed on the dotted line. I enlisted. Well, chemical was not chemical in the lab. It was actually out there throwing, nerve agents and being in the midst of chemicals and things like that.
Oh, wow.
And if you remember, in 1990, Desert Storm was going on. So I did all of that, got certified to be, at the time, they were calling it NBC, which is nuclear biological chemicals. That was my specialty. Now they call it CBURN. I was one of the people who got called to go to Desert Storm. And just by the grace of God, at the last moment, they said, okay, well, you don't have to go. We don't need any more ground troops. So from there, I said, okay, well, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I ended up transferring services to the Navy and worked my way up for 14 years through the enlisted chain, got my degree, and saw some things along the way that I didn't like and that I wanted to change. So I decided I wanted to become an officer. So I got commissioned as an officer after being enlisted for 14 years. And I just retired this past November with 30 years of service.
I love it. I love it. I love that. So now tell me about your lack of support at home. So tell me about what we have talked about previously as it relates to your mom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, people who know me, they know my story, and I've only recently have come out publicly and started talking about it because I published a book last January that I was very vulnerable in. But I grew up in Chicago, was born and raised in Chicago. I'm the youngest of 4 children, and my siblings and I all have big gaps between, well, me and my siblings, not them. So like my brother who's next to me, there's 8 years. My next brother's 13, my sister's 15. So I have a large gap in between us. So basically, when I was growing up, my teenage years, things like that, they were out the house already living their lives. But my mother was very verbally abusive to me. It was like every word she spoke to me was like laced in venom. It was like she was almost trying to purposely destroy me. And you know how they say misery loves company? I think because she was a miserable person, she wanted to inflict that on me. So all my life, I was told you're ugly, you're lazy, you're a poor daughter, just things like that destroyed me, my self-esteem, my self-worth. And, I tried to do things to please her as an adult, still nothing, regardless of whatever my accomplishments were. She never told me she loved me. She never said she was proud of me. But in my life growing up, because I had been so damaged and destroyed, I had low self-esteem, low confidence, and that spilled over into my relationships with men. I ended up choosing men that I shouldn't have chosen, that I knew were not the men for me. But because, you're in that mode of, am I worthy? Am I not worthy? Okay, well, I'll take this, knowing that you're settling, right? You're like, okay, I'll be with this person because this person is going to see how much, I love them, and then they're going to love me. They're going to be good to me. I've been in emotionally abusive relationships. I've been in physical abusive relationships. I had one man to actually hold a gun to my head when I caught him in bed with another woman. I've had men to just really destroy me because, when you're broken, other people see your brokenness and it's like they're on the attack, right? They're like a predator. And so instead of them trying to help you and lift you up, they use that against you. So I've had guys to see that and see that brokenness and see, and it's funny because they say you attract, where you are. And I think that was the thing, because I was so broken. I was attracting these people who really didn't care about me, but they were still trying to damage me even further. So that really played on my self-esteem in my life for a long time. It wasn't until I hit 40 that I decided, you know what? I'm better than this, and I'm going to work through this and do my own personal work to overcome the trauma from my mother and from these other men, and hold my head up high and not say, okay, well, I made this mistake. I made that mistake. Nobody will want me. Nobody will love me, because regardless of the mistakes you made, God has someone for you who's not going to look at those mistakes and try to judge you or condemn you. They're going to look at you and accept you with all your flaws where you are. And that's something that I really had to work on myself and help myself to understand.
It is so true, that you do attract who you are. I remember when I divorced my ex-husband, I remember sitting in that space and not really understanding my self-worth, very much in the same way. Now, I didn't have anyone hold a gun to my head. And I'm sorry that that ever happened to you, because you're such an amazing person. But it was they do see that brokenness.
Mhm.
People see that brokenness in you. Guys see that brokenness in you, and they will pounce. They
Mhm.
will pounce. It isn't until, you get to the point where you are like, okay, I'm done. When I met my husband, literally, I was like, you know, I'm not falling in love with no one. Okay. I'm not attached to no one. And it was the inner work that I had to do in order to be able to show up in that manner, right? And not settling. And if you showed up at my house or you showed up in my space and you were not worthy of being in my space, I would
Mhm.
cut you off in a heartbeat, because it doesn't matter. I'm not here, I'm here to serve my children well. And bringing those men in my house, or bringing those men in my life, I needed to ensure that my children were safe, right?
Yes.
And those are the things that, you always look. So I'm so proud of you. I'm so
Thank
proud of
you.
you. I love you. So now,
Love too.
so now, when you teach young women how to navigate the tech world, tell us about how you're pouring back into these young women.
Again, I decided to go back to my roots, which is tech, and you know yourself, I'm a techie, and I re- and I
Well,
realized
I just want to say this. When we got on the call, she was like, "You don't know how to use Dropbox." Well, no, she thinks that's funny. I'm like, "Well, no, I don't know how to use Dropbox. Not at all."
it's all right. We're friends. You can always count on me. But I'm a techie, and that's one of the things I am, and I have been this way for over 20 something years. But I didn't realize it as I was building my career as a computer programmer and some of the major corporations I worked for, and some of the things that I did in my career until now. And I said, you know what, God, you put me in that space for a reason. And the reason is, and I think because I am a Black female, the tech world is predominantly male and white, and there's just not enough of women of color in tech, whether you're Black, Latina, Native American. So what I decided to do, again, with this pandemic, was I decided to do a Girls of Color Tech Saturday. And I'm going to do this every quarter. And it's a 6-week course where I am just pouring into these girls, just talking to them about the careers in tech, what they want to go into, certifications, what they need to succeed. Because my thing is, these girls, just like me, I didn't have anyone to model this after, right? I just jumped and it worked for me. But if I can be a face for these other girls, to empower them and encourage them to go into tech, because I went into tech in 1990. Here we are back, it's 2021, and girls of color, women of color are still underrepresented in the tech space. I want to change that. So these girls, I only accept 13 girls to the program, 13 years up and older, but I want to actually help them answer their questions, tell them about the different career fields they want to go into, whether it's, being a programmer or a ethical hacker, whatever that is. I want to help them and let them see that there's someone like them that can, so that they know that they can achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve.
Now tell me what an ethical hacker is. That sounds like an oxymoron to me. But go ahead, tell me what it is.
As soon as I said it, I was like, she's gonna ask me about
You saw that knot up in my forehead. It's like, I don't know
yeah,
what
you're
that
like, what?
means.
Okay, so we all know what a hacker is. Hackers are usually people who are out to do nefarious things. Well, an ethical hacker is basically the opposite. Instead of them hacking to do bad things, they're hacking to improve and to show you how to do things better and to keep the bad people out. So their job is to like go through your system to see where things are broken, to try to hack into it so that they could tell you, okay, these are the things that you need to fix. Whereas a regular hacker is going to get into your system, find those vulnerabilities, and steal your personal identification. Get into your bank account, things like that.
Yeah, we don't like those hackers at all. Now, you have a book that is coming out. Tell us about that and the reason why you decided to write the book.
Okay, well, my book came out last January, and it's called
Okay.
From a Mess to Amazing.
Okay.
7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve. And basically, I talk about my life. It's half memoir, half personal development. And I was really vulnerable in this book, more so than what I had intended writing the book. But I basically talk about some of the mistakes and things I went through and how I overcame them to achieve the things that I have. Because like me, I know there's a lot of people out there who look at their past and think, okay, well, I've done this in the past and that's just it. My life is over. I'm helpless. I'm hopeless. Nobody's going to love me, or I can't rebound from this. And I wanted people to see that, yes, you could. We're all human. We all make mistakes, and not to let a temporary circumstance, define you, and that's what I wanted people to see, because even though my childhood was a mess and I've had, low self-esteem and I had the problem with men, I still ended up excelling and doing things. And now here I am today, actually encouraging other people to be resilient and things like that. So don't let your past define you. Keep going. You don't know what's on the other side. And it's so unfortunate. Some people, they get to a point where they're like, I can't take it anymore. And they end up committing suicide. And my thing is, weeping may endure for a night. Joy is going to come in the morning.
That's right.
You can't take what's happening to you today and think that that's all that life has for you. So that's what that book is. The book is just a lot of encouragement and motivation, and me, like I said, really being vulnerable, saying, okay, this is what has happened to me in my life. Here's how I did my work. Forgiveness of yourself, forgiveness of other people, personal development, your mindset. That's like the first chapter, changing your mindset, because it all seems easy. It seems like, you tell people, oh, this is what you need to do. And they make it seem so easy, but it's not. And until you change your mindset, none of these other things could happen. And that's really one of the things that I really talk on in depth in the book. So I have that book, and then I'm part of an anthology that's going to be coming out here in a couple of months, where I'm with some other great authors who writing, and I wrote a chapter in the book. So I'm just out there, trying to spread positivity and encouragement, because we got enough negativity going on in this world. And if I can do my part to make things better and to help lift people up, that's what I'm going to do.
And the hurt that you have is a very defined hurt. The hurt that you have from your mama is a really, really deep hurt. And learning to, and forgiving her is an everyday process, I'm sure, because you really, it's tough, it's difficult, right? Whenever you have parent hurt. Someone said this in one of the groups that I was in on Clubhouse. They were talking about that hurt, and they said that a lot of women who have hurt from their mom, they don't like hanging out with women because they see that their mom in other women. And that takes us from the ability to connect and coordinate because of that. So I am super proud that you are not that way. I mean, we connect very well. Yes. And so I cannot tell you how amazingly proud I am for you doing that and doing that hard work and doing that tough work, for sure. Now, what are your, now you have a podcast as well.
I do.
Now, what is your reasoning for starting a podcast?
Which you were a guest on. So if you guys haven't listened, you need to go back and listen to that episode where Dr. V was on there with me. We were kind of hee-heeing it up, but it was good. I did the podcast because I have always loved podcasts, and I know in my darkest moments, I was listening to podcasts, and sometimes I wanted motivation, sometimes I wanted business information, and everyone has a different podcast, and I found out that I was listening to several different podcasts for a different thing. And with my podcast, you get that in one podcast because one week I may have someone talking about how to be a CEO. Next week I'm have somebody talking about how they overcame mental trauma, something like that. But I wanted something where people could get motivated, whether it's for personal or professional reasons. They could listen to that podcast and get something of value out of it for whatever aspect in their life they were looking for.
I love it. I love it. I did have a great time, and I love your podcast for sure, for sure. So go and subscribe to her podcast. She's on. Is it Apple?
Yeah, it's Trina. It's the podcast is called Trina Talk, and I'm on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify. I'm everywhere. So just go subscribe.
Gotcha. Now, what are your major goals in life, and for the population that you service?
Ooh, my goal again is my mission is to make sure that girls of color pursue careers in technology. And as far as my speaking is going out motivating them, but it's in the tech world. I want to empower those small and medium-sized businesses who may not have a big tech department like, let's say, a Google or a big corporation like that, but help them use technology to communicate with their clients or even their employees, because we all know we are now in a new normal, right? What we once knew as normal before the pandemic hit, that's not coming back. So this is where we are. And it's funny because I was talking to a friend the other day, and then I was asking her, I was like, "Oh, are you going into the office today?" She's like, "Oh no, we're not going into the office anymore. We're all permanently working from home now." So that's where we are.
That's right.
Businesses are finding out, one, that, okay, we can do this with technology. We don't have to spend money in rent on a building and equipment and things like that. So I want to help these businesses actually do this successfully, because you still have to connect with your clients. If you got employees out there who you talk to remotely in different locations, you need to do it, and you need to do it on a platform where you guys are all communicating together on a common platform. You can't be like, okay, this person is on Android, this person is on Apple, oh, this person got a Mac. So you need to do it where everybody can communicate together and do it securely. So that's my goal, is to bring that harmony to the businesses who may not have those big IT departments like some of the big corporations.
I love it. I love it, because that competition is real. It's
real.
Great, real. For sure. I mean, even in my house, me and my husband's like, look, he's an Android user, and of course I'm an Apple user, and I'm like, look, you need to come to the light.
Tell him that's right. He needs to come on over.
Now, who is someone that has impacted your life, and why were they so impactful?
Oh, I had a guy who I was stationed with in the Navy. I was enlisted at the time. He was as well. He was older than me and senior to me at rank in the time. But he doesn't know this, but he impacted me by what he said to me, and I'll never forget it. Because of my mother, I had some issues, right? I was very quick with my tongue and being really, on edge. And I was just really intense. And I remember this gentleman and I, we were stationed in Hawaii together, and we were on duty, and we were talking, and I was telling him, yeah, I want to be an officer, and I was going through blah, blah, blah. And after, in the middle of our shift, he said, you know what? He said, you'll never be an officer. And I was like, what? He was like, they're looking for people who are calm, who, are collected, he's like, you're not calm. He's like, you jump like that, you're down somebody's throat. He's like, you'll never make it. And I was like, wow. And he was like, you know what? I'm your friend. He was like, I don't care whether you like what I'm saying or not. He's like, this is the truth. And I really took a look at myself when he told me that. And he was right. And from that time on, I changed. And because of him, I did become an officer. I ended up, from people telling me that I have had working with me, said that I was like the best officer they've ever had. But that guy and what he said, I will never forget it. And he really impacted my life.
And looking introspectively, that is something that a lot of people just won't do. I remember, and that is so true, because leaders are calm.
Mhm.
Leaders are, they don't snap back at you,
Yeah.
if they are good leaders anyway. I mean, we do have
Right.
some leaders that are not, that will snap back at you, because I used to be that very same way. I used to be that very way in the emergency department, and I would, I was all about getting the job done.
Mhm.
And when I got demoted from two jobs because of that, because I had those peer interviews, it made me look introspectively and say, okay, you've got to calm down. You've got to be the calm head in the situation. Because whenever you have a code blue that's coming into your hospital, you cannot be there and be that hot head and running around like a chicken
Mhm.
with your head cut off. You've got to be calm in order to run that code blue like you should run that code blue. And that's one thing that leaders do well. So I am super excited. Do you mind saying his name, who he is?
Yes, his name, if you're out there, his name is Arnie Mayer. And Arnie, thank you because you have been instrumental in my life. But just like you were saying with, in your profession with the cold blue, it's the same thing in the military. And I thought about it and, I'm like, okay, how can I charge people or tell people to do things that may put their lives in danger if I'm a spaz or I'm not talking to them? People follow leaders who they respect,
Mhm,
and they're not going to respect you if you're a hothead. So
mhm.
he really, really, truly just he blessed my life because, like I said, I will never forget what he said, and because of him, my whole life has shifted.
I love it. I love it. Now, what is some advice that you would give someone that is going into the tech field for the first time?
Do it. You belong there just as much as the other people. You are qualified, and do it. That's what I want to see. It's been a profession that people have been intimidated by, especially people of color. And I want you to get out there and pursue that career if that's really what you want to do. And now they're calling it STEM and STEAM. But if you want to get into those professions, do it. Don't let anyone stop you because you are just as smart and as capable as anyone else.
Now, how do you define wealth?
I define wealth, my personal wealth is peace of mind, happiness, being with the people who I really love, and doing the things that I want to do that I have a passion for.
Love it. I love it. Now, how can we find you?
My website is trinalmartin.com. You can book me to speak. You can look for information on the Girls of Tech, Girls of Color of Tech Saturdays. My book, everything is there, trinalmartin.com.
Sweet, sweet. Thank you so much for being here. This has been super enjoyable for me just because I love you and because it has been you just that story just resonates so well with most people. So my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer, and the facilitators of Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to teach nurses to leverage the knowledge that they already know working from their computers around the world, creating generational wealth and owning their own time. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals, to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of our goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Trina that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com, and remember to click the calendar link above if you want to create another stream of income and enroll in our 12-week course, the VP Nursing Business Academy. As a matter of fact, this Thursday we are launching our introductory course. It is going to be amazing. So if you want to get in on the introductory price, I suggest you go ahead and sign up by this Thursday, January 7th, 2021. So anyway, you guys have a phenomenal day. It's been great talking to you. I love you, Trina.
Love you too. Thank you.